and welcome back to this terrific Tuesday edition of Liquid Lunch. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming to you live from the Newsmax headquarters in Midtown Manhattan, downtown at the New York Stock Exchange. Still experiencing some technical difficulty on this first trading day of September, with the market down 330 points, still on those tariff fears. And for you crypto maniacs out there who always want to make sure I stay on top of my crypto game, Bitcoin is up about $300 and it bounced above 10,000 over the weekend, 10,600 as we speak. And I think the crypto's okay. I think the market will be okay too. We are more than okay because today we mix it up, and we do every day. We bring a Republican, a Democrat, and an independent. I'm the independent. Walker Bragman joins us again, and Walker is an independent journalist, a holder of a law degree, but not a practicing attorney. And Rich Valdes has been on with us many times. Rich is the host of the This Is America podcast. He's also a Republican candidate considering making AOC bartend again. So, guys, thank you for joining me today. John. And my first question is this. Wall-to-wall coverage. Frankie and I were talking about it in the open. Every channel you turn on, there's a picture of a hurricane. And Walker, I just want to ask you, is climate change the reason we're having more hurricanes?
Well, the science shows that over the last 2 to 3 decades, the intensity of hurricanes has increased overall. We have more Category 4 and 5 hurricanes now than we did back in the 1970s. I think it is an important issue. It is probably the most important issue that we face as a country. And I would like to see the administration take it a little more.
Climate change is the most important issue.
Undeniably, the science is very clear that man-made or human-accelerated climate change is an existential threat to our civilization. A study put out by the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change found that we have 12 years to meaningfully and radically reform our society in order to keep global temperatures within 1.5 degrees Celsius relative to pre-industrial levels. And what that might sound, right now we're at 1 degree, but if we go up 0.5 degrees, that means that the sea level rise will continue.
Seismic changes.
Yeah, it also means that rare diseases that we haven't seen in the northern hemisphere are suddenly going to start appearing more.
Rich, guns, immigration, economy.
None of those are as important as climate change, right? Everybody wakes up in the morning. There's people in Texas right now, and they're not worrying about climate change. They're worried about dead people. There were 7 people killed as a result of a Looney Tune with a gun. So I don't think climate change had anything to do with this guy's mental illness. To me, mental illness is definitely one of the top issues we've got.
I mean, that's just...
You've been on before, Walker. You've said this is a terrible issue. That's terrible. Climate change is really the one thing.
Absolutely, if temperatures exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius,
we're all dead.
That means That means a massive refugee crisis. That means areas that are low-lying areas like New Orleans are going to get hit first. It means thousands, if not millions, of people are going to die. And already are dying. Look at the Bahamas. The death toll in Puerto Rico. People are dying from other things. People are being killed by, gunmen, and that's bad, and we can address guns as well. We can walk and chew gum at the same time, but to say that climate change is, to dismiss it as this, whatever, that is extremely dangerous. There is no threat on the level that climate change presents to humanity.
Rich, your opponent, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, agrees with Walker that this is one of the biggest threats we have. She wants to ban planes, trains, automobiles. What will your campaign talk about?
Well, this is one of the reasons why I'm making strong consideration towards actually getting into this race, because I think when people in Queens and in New York wake up in the morning, that's not the first thing on their mind. I'm not negating the fact that there's an issue with climate. I just don't think that it's something that we can necessarily do much more to solve. Over the weekend, I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw some guy say, we've got a Navy, we've got an Air Force. Why don't we go and throw chunks of ice into the Atlantic Ocean to cool the water so we don't have a hurricane? Now, I guess maybe there's something to that, but I laughed my butt off reading that, and I'm thinking we're going to throw ice cubes in the Atlantic Ocean, and that's going to stop a hurricane. In my lifetime, hurricanes have been around, and hurricane season has always started in August, and it goes through into like November. That's always been the case. They're talking about this storm right now, Hurricane Dorian, being the strongest storm since one in 1945. So that means back in 1945, there was also a Category 5 that was hitting the Bahamas in that area. I don't know that we can control Mother Nature.
But well, hang on. It's just pointing out and saying this is the strongest storm since this one in 1948. Yeah, but like in the past few years, we've had storms that are of historic strength. We've had, Sandy caused $12 billion worth of damage in New York City, in New York. So you want to talk about, the concerns of people in Queens and the Bronx. And I mean, climate change is at our door. And if we do not act,
so you think cows farting is a contributing factor?
Or more so, if I could just chime in.
So is fracking. Fracking releases methane, which is 25 times more potent a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. And the Trump administration just rolled back industry regulations on methane emissions. He rolled back efficiency standards on cars. And over the weekend, while this hurricane was ravaging the Bahamas, he tried to roll back, or he did roll back elements of the Clean Water Act, which is a two-step process, and we cleared the first hurdle. So this is not just an administration that is hostile to science, or it's an administration that just is hostile to our continued survival. It's insane.
Well, if I could just say, John Tobacco and Walter Bragman, a vote for AOC isn't going to stop any hurricanes. A vote for any Democrat isn't going to stop rain or wind from hitting anybody anywhere. And I think that's really what this comes down to.
It's not about stopping hurricanes. It's about mitigating the damage of man-made global warming, of human-caused global warming, and the attitude that we can just afford to sit back and, do nothing or treat it as, this happens. That is fundamentally at odds with the needs of future generations in this country. And we will look at those who push those positions very unfavorably, even in 10 years, 50 years, in 100 years.
Isn't it a little presumptuous to think that this one small planet in this whole giant universe can actually, some human beings can do things that can change the entire universe? Because that's what we're talking about, right? That the ozone layer is being affected. We're in this giant universe that, no one knows how it was created, but somehow humans can use less hairspray and stop fracking, and we're gonna cut down on hurricanes.
Most of the pollution in this country is driven by a few major corporations. It's not consumer. I mean, yes, consumers buy these products and contribute, but most of the pollution, most of the emissions come from these.
So I'm good with the hairspray then.
But I mean, if you want to talk about existential meaning in a large universe, then we can have that conversation. I don't think that's political. But if you want to talk about can we affect the climate and the planet around us, we already have. And
we have. In San Francisco, they banned plastic straws, as you know. But now they have to hire all these human beings to go around and pick up all the human feces in the street. So, in 1 minute we're spending tons of money to ban straws, and the next minute we have liberal administrations just allowing people to live and defecate in the streets. So, can we all get on the same page?
Well, homelessness is, again, it's a separate issue. It's a national crisis. It is not just in areas that are run by, liberals, and it is driven largely by wealth inequality, which is a national problem. Here in New York, we have 78,000 empty apartment units that are not in contract, that are not, occupied, and those units are just sitting there, and they're investments. So, but again, climate change is the biggest issue we have faced as a species. It will be, it could foreseeably be the end of humanity, our civilization.
One thing I'd like to say before we go is then we should go after the real culprits: India, China, and the biggest polluters on the planet. The United States is definitely not at the top of that list.
I don't disagree. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to have a more brisk debate coming up right after this. Walter Bragman and Rich Valdes are going to stay with us. We're going to talk about the mooch losing his mind, Biden losing his mind, and of course, guns. Take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.